Welcome to Making Pretend. Did you spend your childhood running around the woods making pretend? Did you love making costumes as a kid? Was Halloween your favorite holiday? If the answer is yes, then you are in the right place. And the answer was definitely yes on all of those questions for me. The same is true for my best buddy and business partner, Eric Auger. We're co-founders of 1031 Productions, and we've made a life of making pretend. And this is our blog or our pod or whatever it's going to be. 1031 is a living arts company that specializes in living statues, dances, and historical reenactments for special events worldwide. And we're kicking off this project to celebrate our upcoming 25th anniversary of making pretend. And that is mind-blowing for me. For the first time, we're going to open up about the start of our company, and we're going to have members of our cast and crew share their stories of being performers, creating costumes, and our experiences along the way of this quarter of a century of creating experiences and special moments for events, weddings, and marketing campaigns. And today, Eric and I are going to kind of go over the origin of the company, but we're also going to have a question that will be answered in 10 minutes and 31 seconds. And that's going to be the thing. When our guests come on, they're going to have 10 minutes and 31 seconds to answer the questions so that we can learn more about this company and how it relates to the world today. Eric, how are you?
Oh, I'm just fine. Feeling good. Happy to be alive.
Looking good.
Ooh, we're both looking good.
We're
Now that we're
both
both
good.
in our 40s.
40s. Yeah, exactly. Um, we'll do the math later.
Oh, God.
Let's get into it. Let's just talk
Okay.
about how this company started. And I'm going to
Oh,
keep an eye on the time. We're going to go over a
okay.
little bit of that history, and then I'm
Hmm.
going to wow you with a question.
Ooh, I love to be. Wow.
Wow. So we started this company kind of spontaneously out of our love of Halloween, and that's how we came up with the name. And a lot of people who've been working with us as clients for the years, they all have that moment when they're like, "Oh, it's not an address. It's an homage to our favorite holidays." Um,
Yes.
so tell the story. When did we start?
I believe it was the year 2000.
Mhm.
Many moons ago. And well, we're both creative people. We both loved Halloween, as you said. We both loved wearing costumes, and we just wanted to find a niche where we could express ourselves creatively um, with the artwork that we were creating for ourselves, as well as the characters that we were pretending to be, and trying to find that niche where we could actually do it and perhaps get not only emotionally and spiritually fulfilled, but hey, maybe even monetarily fulfilled as well.
Hmm. Yeah. And
Hmm.
well, what about more of I remember a fun and special trip to Montreal where
Oh,
maybe you got the spark for this.
oh, you remember that trip? I don't know if I remember it too much.
Some of it,
Joe,
not
yeah,
all
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
I remember running down the street, listening to the
At
milkman
4 a.m.
deliver milk.
At
Yeah,
4 a.m. That's
yeah.
right. That's right. With an empty wallet and
Hmm.
a misplaced hotel key.
Yes. Well,
Well,
what
yes,
happened there?
I remember
What
that trip.
happened?
What happened was, you and I frequently took buddy trips together at that time, or at least once a year. We decided to go away and do something. And I don't know who decided Montreal. I'm sure it was you because I was more the follower than the planner. So we decided to go up to Montreal for a vacation. And unbeknownst to us, it was serendipitously that the Jazz and Street Performer Festival, which is an annual occurrence there, was happening at the same time that we were there. And we were both um, really excited about that aspect. And as I remember it, we kind of split split up for a little while and we're just kind of meandering and doing our own individual exploring. And I remember walking down the street and seeing these performers. It was actually, I think, like a circus group that was doing juggling, and they would just had this big round circle of people. They were performing in the round, and I was just watching them, and I was like, "This is really awesome!" Like they're just like I felt like I was immediately part of their tribe, just like it's just a bunch of people dressed in costumes. They were just doing what they love, and they had an audience of people. And no joke, I was standing there, and then all of a sudden I was overwhelmed with emotion, and I just started sobbing uncontrollably on the
Mhm.
street and saying, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
And I didn't know why that happened or why what it meant. Um, and I shared that with you, and we both kind of like ruminated on maybe why that could have happened. And it all comes down to the fact that we were there bearing witness to these people being passionate, living their lives,
Hmm.
and um, quite honestly, doing what they love and being themselves in front of a crowd of people. And the people were responding to that authenticity of self. So I feel
Hmm.
that from there, that was kind of the catalyst of us trying to find ourselves a little bit in so many
Hmm.
words. And
Yeah.
um, we just decided to look back at our love of costuming and kind of rely on that as the catalyst of what we could do or maybe become. And
Yeah.
we pieced together our now infamous gargoyle costumes.
Gargoyle. Yeah.
And yeah, and we decided to march down to Providence. Well, we lived in Providence at the time. We walked downtown during a waterfire event, and which is a culmination of an installation of public art, and the art is braziers that are in the river that are actual bonfires. So there was a lot of
Hence the
atmospheric
fire in the
mood.
water.
Yes, yes, it's not firewater, not firewater, it's water
No.
fire. And we decided to go down there and kind of find a perch to sit our wings and our bodies upon, and we just kind of froze there as living statues, and the rest is history, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. And it was they were very rudimentary costumes. Everything was spray painted. We had grease paint on us, which was real fun to take off your like all of your arms and face and head.
Yeah.
And that was all fun. And now we use water base. But also there we just went down sort of spontaneously. We didn't ask for permission. We didn't contact the organizers. We just sat down, and we caused a traffic jam right on the river walk. And the organizers came over to see what the hell was going on. And one of them whispered in my ear, "We love what you're doing, but call us next time. And we'll find a better spot for you."
Yep.
Um, but then it was, not until a week later where we were able to spend some of that cash and those dollar bills at a club in Providence. And we were sitting in the car, and we had both been working our regular day jobs. And it was the first time that we connected since the performance, the premiere performance of the Gargoyle. And we shared each other our experiences, and that we both had kind of simultaneously at this one point in this one song, this aha epiphany moment that we felt. And you said, "Oh, we're gonna cry." You were crying on the thing. There's gonna be a lot of times that we're gonna be crying on this thing where I get choked up so easily, but that we were able to share with each other that we didn't know what, but we felt something that
Hmm.
was like reached inside of us and
Yeah.
was just like, this is it. And
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I was not sure what I was really doing. I was like in between like school, and I wasn't sure if I was going on to grad school or not. And I was just like, I always said like I just had like heavy ropes on me because I felt like I was tied down, but I realized that I wasn't tied down. I just have to get up, move the heavy ropes, pick a direction, and walk in that direction. Um, and it was just because of that, I think whatever energy tapped into us that night that we were like, why we're here 25 years later, I guess, doing the same damn thing.
Yes, for sure. I think that it was a very parallel universe inside each of us where it just felt natural and felt right. And you know, remember that we are there, as you said, with spray painted clothes, with gray grease paint, with a gargoyle mask, wearing fiberglass feathered wings, and
Hmm.
that felt right. You know, and
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
that was it. I need to
no,
be
and that's
smelling the paint and having the grease paint and the sweat go into my
into your
eyes. And then I
eyes
was
and
like,
then
yeah,
blur
this
out
is
your
home.
contacts. Yes, and
Oh
we
my
both had
God.
the contact
Ugh.
lens yeah,
Yeah,
murkiness. Yeah.
yeah.
But
Where you go
it's
like just hazy for a little while.
yeah. I mean, I think it's the old adage of follow your bliss. And what does that really
True.
mean? I don't think you can really explain what it means. You can just feel what it feels like. And
Hmm.
it's when it just feels right, why wouldn't you just do it? So
Yeah.
I think for us it was like we found this not a new language, but a new conduit for us to express this creative energy. And it just felt right. And from the response that we got from the crowds of people and from the organizers of the festival, it transcended into, yeah, it felt right for them too, because there was a positive response to what we were doing. And again, we can say we didn't know what we were doing because we didn't know what we're doing, but I would argue that we knew what we were doing. We just
We
hadn't
didn't know what
ever
we were
done it
doing.
before. No, we
Right.
did, but we did because
Well,
we were
yeah.
just like doing it. Like
Oh,
what,
we
what,
didn't talk
what
about the character, and somehow the characters
exactly,
were the same.
exactly, exactly.
Like
And we were just
like
like,
Gargoyle Brothers. Like we didn't talk about how we were gonna move.
no,
We didn't we just put these things on us and here I go again. Just like became like these twins, these like
yeah,
gargoyle twins. Um, the gestures, this like everything was just like it was written. Yeah, that was weird.
yeah.
That was definitely weird. And then that ended up really informing sort of the whole style and gesticulations of al almost all of the characters that we have now.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, variations developed from input from other performers later on, but sort of the spine of it that is still there, you know?
Well, the
That's
thing is, it's
crazy.
like we had nothing to lose and nothing to
Hmm.
prove.
Right.
So I think when you have that, and some may call it naive, some may call it, um, not epiphany, um, with the highest extreme of joy, like,
Hmm.
you know,
Elation.
yeah, elation. It was just like, oh, and that's what I was saying. Like we were just doing what came naturally to us, even though we had never
Hmm.
done it before. So it's kind
Yeah.
of you can't kind of argue that even in yourself when you're so overcome with positivity and knowing that this is just right and just doing what feels right.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was obviously a uh, game changer for both of us as far as
Life changing.
not only as humans, but no, I mean just as humans in general.
But just
It
imagine
pivoted
like
us
the
into a
picture
different
book.
direction.
Yeah, like oh, yeah, total pivot. That's what I mean, like life changing. But just like
Yeah.
imagine like from that moment, like the picture book, like the or the animation book, if
Oh
we
yeah,
could
yeah.
at that moment like see everything that would follow that moment
Oh
and
my
all the places
gosh.
we would go and all the
Yeah,
people that we would
yeah.
interact with. It's
But that's the joy.
bananas.
That's the joy
Yeah.
of it being, the what's the word I'm thinking of? The it's the origin, it's like
Hmm.
it was divine intervention, how it's like the Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
Just starts. You can't really explain.
Right. All right, listen, we've got 10 minutes
I
left.
see, I see. Yep.
We're gonna go through this and make it happen. But listen, I just want to say I want to stay with Waterfire because there's a lot that we're gonna share along the way on this podcast and all the stories that we share. So I just want to stay right there in Waterfire.
I'm
But
there.
before I
I'm
do
there.
that, I want to give thanks to our
Oh,
I want to give thanks to our moms.
oh, yeah. They're awesome. They
Yeah.
were they were awesome. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
because they were the ones that like instilled in us the love for Hollywood.
for sure.
Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
And
God
gave
bless
us
them
permit
both
and yes, and gave us permission to
to be
be
freaks.
whoever we want to be, whenever we want to be. Yeah, with no
Yeah,
apologies.
yeah, yeah. And also that store-bought costumes were not acceptable or in the budget.
Yeah, yeah, or in the
So
budget.
yeah,
That's probably more
both our
like
moms made our costumes. They,
yes.
really instilled in a love of Halloween. Like my mom would dress up as a witch every year and hand out candy and play the music and, and it was all about that really special, special night
Yeah.
that they both gave us in terms of costume making and celebrating this holiday that rejoices in being something different than yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
So sticking with Waterfire
Yes.
and a lead in, but you're gonna have less than 10 minutes and 31 seconds to deal with this one,
I will
is I
say this
want you
in
to
three
talk.
minutes, I promise.
We'll see. I also have a follow-up just in case. I want you to tell me about the most interesting, memorable, um, first thing that jumps to your mind experience of all the times, and that's probably been hundreds of times that you
Ooh.
performed at Waterfire. What's the one that comes to mind right now?
Uh, Out of all the experiences, I would say the one that resonates with me the most as far as just feeling would be when we were performing as gargoyles and a woman came up to me and she stood in front of me and she just looked at me and I looked down at her and she said, I found out this morning that my son was killed in Iraq. And she just looked at me. And
Wow.
here I am as, a
Uh-huh.
costumed gargoyle and like, what do I do? And I was just like, I don't have to do anything. I opened my arms and she took a step forward. We embraced and I held her and she just started to cry and cry and cry. And I was just like, I'm doing it. I just need to be here for her at this moment and not say anything or not do anything and let me be there fully for her. And
Hmm.
I held her gently and she released and let go and she looked up at me and she said thank you and then she walked away. And of course, how can you not reflect on something like that? And it just taught me that sometimes there's too much effort in trying to be, and sometimes you just have to let go of all of that and give up the ghost and not try to be anything or be anyone, just be there for someone else. And in turn, you are so fulfilled and so filled with joy and love just by doing nothing. So that was my most memorable moment for sure.
And when that happened and she, let go and walked away, what what did you think? Or like, what was inside you at that point with a complete stranger coming up to you and saying that and revealing that about themselves?
It may sound strange, but I think elation is the word
Hmm.
that would best describe it because I knew that I was there for someone else and it was effortless for me. And to think
Hmm.
that just by being still and again, like fully accepting um, this emotional tidal wave that she was kind of
Yeah.
letting go of
Yeah.
herself, but it didn't
Hmm.
impede me. It didn't ruffle my feathers, pun intended. Um,
Hmm.
it just kind of went through me, and I
Yeah.
think that I was just like the sifter that she just like kind of let it go and it kind of went through me and it
Yeah.
just I didn't hang on to it. I didn't feel I needed to let it go. It just kind of went through me and back up into the universe. And I could
Hmm.
tell just from her demeanor was so different. It was almost like I had given her not a reward, but I had just she just
It's
let
a
go
release.
of
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it was effortless for me to do so. And I was so happy that I could have done that
Yeah.
for her and been there for her.
Yeah. Yeah, like, people will say, the gargoyles are scary looking and stuff like that. But then when you're near them, they truly are sort of like what they were meant to be, and that their gargoyles were meant to scare away the evil spirits. And so the gargoyle has always been for me sort of like a little bit of like a family dog, a guard dog. And
Yeah, for
he's a
sure.
great pet, that's there to maybe keep those demons away. He's
Yeah.
kept the demons away from me, I would say, all these years.
What about you?
Um, well, we'll have to wait that maybe for our next time that we talk because we're almost out of time. And I want to tell everyone that next time we're going to be talking with Alicia Wilder, who is our, our our third wheel in a good way. And really propelled this company to create a dance company. And so part of this experience along the way was seeing how, as a business, we adapt and change and still focus on what we do well, but then also don't be afraid to try something else different. Or, Eric, as you always say, give ourselves permission to fill in the blank. And so next week we're going to talk with her and get some of her background information and surprise her with her 10-minute and 31-second question. It was a little off time this time, but that's because it's our first time doing it. So we hope you tune in again, and these will be available on our website along with transcriptions and also uploaded into the interweb to watch over and over and over. So,
Lovely.
Eric,
Happy Halloween.
happy Halloween, everyone, and thanks a lot. Bye.